The Force had witnessed many disturbances across its eternal vigil over the galaxy, the birth of stars, the fall of civilizations, the rise and corruption of countless Force sensitives. But it had never experienced anything quite like the dimensional tear that ripped open above Coruscant's orbital shipyards during the height of the Clone Wars, spewing out 7 screaming humanoids and what appeared to be a small green child in decidedly non-regulation armor. "Goku, you idiot!" Vegeta's voice cut through the vacuum of space as they tumbled past a Republic Venator-class Star Destroyer currently exchanging fire with Separatist frigates. "I told you not to touch Bulma's dimensional stabilizer." "But it had a button that said, 'Do not press,'" Goku replied cheerfully, apparently unbothered by the lack of atmosphere or the turbo laser fire streaking past them. "How was I supposed to resist that?" "Because it said, 'Do not press,'" Piccolo growled, his cape billowing dramatically despite the physics-defying circumstances. "That's literally the one instruction." Below them, or above them, directionality being relative in space, the Clone Wars raged in miniature. Admiral Wolf Yularen barked orders from the bridge of the Resolute as ARC-170 starfighters swarmed against Vulture droids in deadly ballet. On the ship's main viewport, a hologram of Anakin Skywalker flickered with tactical updates, his attention entirely focused on the battle until his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, grabbed his arm. "Master, are those people just floating in space?" Anakin followed her pointing finger and watched 7 figures, 6 adults and what might have been a child, tumble past the Resolute's starboard side, apparently arguing with each other, without spacesuits, in hard vacuum, while a space battle raged around them. "That's not possible," he muttered. "I'll tell you what's not possible," Krillin wheezed as they spun past a squadron of V-19 Torrents. "Breathing in space. Why can I breathe in space?" "We've been to space before, Krillin," Gohan pointed out, his scholarly tone somehow maintaining professorial calm despite their situation. "Remember Namek? Or when we fought in the upper atmosphere against—" "Nerd!" Vegeta interrupted. "Focus on the fact that Kakarot's stupidity has stranded us in another dimension." "Oh, come on, this is like the 3rd time. Tops," Goku protested. "Maybe 4th if you count that movie." "We don't count the movies," 4 voices shouted in unison. A turbo laser bolt from a Separatist Munificent-class frigate screamed toward them and promptly disintegrated against Vegeta's extended palm, the Saiyan Prince not even bothering to look at it. On the Resolute's bridge, every clone trooper, tactical officer, and Jedi froze. "Did that man just block a turbo laser?" Ahsoka whispered. "With his hand?" "Scanners aren't reading them as any known species," Admiral Yularen reported, his weathered face pale. "No life support systems, no propulsion, no energy signatures that match our databases. But their power readings—" He trailed off, staring at his console. "Sir, these readings don't make sense. They're showing energy outputs comparable to a capital ship's reactor core. Per individual." Anakin's connection to the Force suddenly screamed a warning. Not danger, exactly, but wrongness. These beings existed outside the Force's normal flow, like rocks in a stream, creating turbulent eddies. They weren't Force-sensitive, but they weren't Force-null either. They were simply other. "This is General Skywalker to unknown contacts," Anakin transmitted on all frequencies. "You're drifting into an active combat zone. Do you require assistance?" Goku perked up, looking around for the source of the voice. "Oh, hey, someone's talking to us. That's nice. Usually people just start shooting." "They are shooting, you moron," Vegeta snapped, swatting aside another turbo laser bolt like an annoying insect. "These primitive energy weapons are everywhere." "Primitive?" Piccolo's antennae twitched with interest. "Goku, I don't think we're in our universe anymore." "Oh, Goku's face lit up with realization. Is this like that time we ended up in that other dimension with all the rules about power levels? We're always in dimensions with rules about power levels, Krillin shrieked. That's how dimensions work. On the Separatist command ship, General Grievous observed the strange warriors through his viewport, his mechanical eyes processing their impossible feat of surviving in vacuum. The cyborg general had collected lightsabers from 139 Jedi he'd personally killed. He recognized power when he saw it. Curious, he rasped, his vocabulator clicking. Commander, redirect batteries 4 through 7. I want those beings captured for Count Dooku's inspection. At once, General. The Munificent-class frigate pivoted, bringing its heavy turbolaser batteries to bear, not on the Republic forces, but on the floating warriors. Grievous expected them to scatter, to show fear, to demonstrate some tactical awareness. Instead, the shortest one, a bald human with 6 dots on his forehead, sighed with the exhaustion of a man who'd been through this exact scenario too many times. Here we go again, Krillin muttered. Vegeta's going to blow something up. Goku's going to befriend the enemy, and I'm going to almost die. Tale as old as time. Solar flare, Tien Shinhan shouted, his technique blazing across the vacuum, and promptly blinding every optical sensor, clone trooper, battle droid, and organic eyeball for 3,000 kilometers. Tien, no, Gohan yelped. We don't know if these people are hostile. They're shooting at us. That seems pretty hostile. To be fair, Goku interjected cheerfully, we did just appear in the middle of their battle. That's kind of rude when you think about it. Vegeta pinched the bridge of his nose, a gesture that had become depressingly familiar over the years. I'm surrounded by idiots. At least we're consistently idiotic, Krillin offered. On Coruscant below, in the Jedi Temple's meditation chamber, Master Yoda's eyes snapped open. Around the galaxy, Force sensitives from Dooku to Palpatine to Ahsoka all felt the same disturbance. Not in the Force itself, but in the very fabric of reality. Something that should not be had arrived, something powerful, something that made absolutely no sense within the known laws of the universe. And in the Resolute Sprig, where Anakin had somehow managed to convince the still-arguing warriors to come aboard just for a quick chat, R2-D2 beeped a series of increasingly alarmed observations as his sensors tried and failed to classify what they were detecting. I know, R2, Ahsoka whispered, staring through the ray shield at the 7 beings who'd already made themselves comfortable despite being detained. One was doing push-ups, another was meditating while floating cross-legged 3 feet off the ground without using the Force. The smallest one was asking a very confused clone trooper about the nearest all-you-can-eat buffet. I don't think they're from around here either. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The strangest war in galactic history had just begun, and nobody, not the Jedi, not the Sith, not the Republic or Separatists, was remotely prepared for what came next. The Jedi Council chamber sat atop one of Coruscant's highest temple spires, a circular room where the greatest Force users in the galaxy gathered to meditate on the will of the Force and guide the Republic through its darkest hours. It was a place of solemnity, wisdom, and ancient tradition. It had never been this loud. And then he pushed the button again, Piccolo was explaining to a visibly stressed Mace Windu. Because, and I quote, I wanted to see if it would do something different the second time. It did do something different, Goku protested from where he sat, cross-legged in the center of the council chamber, having been given a cushion after he'd accidentally cracked the floor by sitting down too hard. The first time it was a blue portal, the second time it was purple. Goku, Gohan said with the patience of a saint, that's not better, that's worse. That means you knowingly made things worse. Oh, Goku considered this. Yeah, okay, that tracks. Master Yoda observed the proceedings with his ears tilted at a curious angle, his 900 years of experience providing absolutely no context for what he was witnessing. The beings before the council radiated power, vast, incomprehensible power that existed completely outside the Force. They weren't dark side users, weren't light side users, weren't even Force sensitive in any traditional sense. They simply were, and they wouldn't stop bickering. Explain to me again, Mace Windu said, his hand unconsciously moving toward his lightsaber hilt in a gesture that betrayed his stress levels. How you accidentally traveled between dimensions. Bulma built a dimensional stabilizer to prevent exactly this sort of thing from happening, Krillin explained. After the incident with the time machine and the androids and the... Look, it's complicated. Point is, she specifically told Goku not to touch it. I'm not good with not touching things, Goku admitted cheerfully. Chi-Chi says it's my defining character flaw. Well, that and the brain damage from when I was a baby. Every Jedi in the room perked up at that. Brain damage? Ki Adimundi inquired, his elongated head tilting with concern. Oh yeah, I hit my head really hard as a kid, completely changed my personality. Before that, I was trying to destroy Earth. After that, I became, you know... Goku gestured vaguely at himself. This explains so much, Vegeta muttered from where he stood with arms crossed, having refused to sit because Saiyan royalty doesn't sit in the presence of lesser beings. This had started a 15-minute argument about whether Jedi Masters counted as lesser beings before Piccolo had physically picked Vegeta up and deposited him in a corner. Obi-Wan Kenobi stroked his beard thoughtfully, a gesture he employed when situations spiraled beyond his considerable diplomatic skills. Let me see if I understand correctly. You're warriors from another dimension entirely. You possess abilities that allow you to survive in vacuum, deflect military-grade weapons with your bare hands, and fly without any visible means of propulsion. Also, we can blow up planets, Goku added helpfully. But we try not to do that anymore after Vegeta. That was one time, Vegeta roared, and it was a strategic decision. You blew up the Arlia because you were bored. It was full of bugs, giant, talking bugs. They were sentient beings with a civilization, Gohan interjected, his scholarly instincts overriding his usual deference to his father's friend. They had art, culture, a monarchical government system. They were bugs. Master Plo Koon raised one clawed hand, his vocabulator adding a mechanical quality to his patient tone. Perhaps we could focus on the present situation rather than past planet destruction. Probably for the best, Krillin agreed. Once they get started on the planets we've accidentally destroyed topic, we'll be here all day. Accidentally? Mace Windu's eye twitched. In all his years as a Jedi Master, through political negotiations with Hutts, debates with separatist sympathizers, and even that incident with the Zillo beast, he had never felt his composure so thoroughly tested. In our defense, Piccolo said, his tone suggesting this was a well-rehearsed argument, most of the time it was either us or the planet. Usually because some galactic tyrant decided that was his opening move. Frieza was the worst about that, Goku nodded sagely. 5 minutes into fighting him, and boom, there goes Namek. Just exploded it out of spite. Namek? Shakti inquired, her head-tails shifting with curiosity. Is that your homeworld? Nah, that's Piccolo's people's homeworld, mine's Earth, which also got blown up once, but we wished it back with the Dragon Balls. Silence fell over the council chamber. The Dragon Balls? Obi-Wan ventured carefully, as if speaking to a possibly dangerous mental patient. Oh yeah, they're these magic orbs that grant wishes. You collect all 7, and the Dragon Shenron appears and grants you a wish. Any wish. Well, except bringing people back to life multiple times. There's a cooldown on that. And you can't wish for more wishes. We learned that one early. Stop. Mace Windu held up both hands. Just stop. Are you telling me that in your dimension there are magical wish-granting orbs that can resurrect the dead? 2 sets, actually, Gohan corrected. Earth's and Namek's. Namek's dragon can grant 3 wishes, but there are some restrictions. Master Windu, perhaps sitting down would be advisable, Obi-Wan suggested, as the senior Jedi Master swayed slightly. Through the Force, Yoda could sense the truth of their words, or at least their sincere belief in what they were saying. No deception detected. He did. Insanity, however, remained a possibility. From another dimension you truly are, Yoda said, his centuries of wisdom helping him accept the impossible. Why here arrived, do you know? Not a clue, Goku announced proudly. But hey, this seems like a pretty nice place. Lots of fighting going on, which is fun. Those robot ships were shooting some pretty cool laser beams. Way weaker than ki blasts, but the volume was impressive. The battle, Anakin spoke up from his position near the doorway, having been called to the council chamber to give his report. You appeared in the middle of an active engagement between Republic and Separatist forces. We're in the middle of a galactic war. Oh, awesome. We love those. Goku's face lit up. Who are we fighting? We? Mace Windu's voice rose dangerously. Master Skywalker just explained we're at war, and your response is to volunteer. Well, yeah, fighting's kind of our thing. Plus, there's usually food involved after. You guys have food here, right? Goku looked around hopefully. I'm starving. Dimensional travel really works up an appetite. They have food, Vegeta said with absolute certainty. These beings couldn't have built this city without a functional economy and resource distribution system. The question is whether their cuisine is worthy of Saiyan consumption standards. Dude, you eat everything, Krillin pointed out. You literally have no standards. I have very high standards. They're just also very broad. Tien Shinhan, who had been silent throughout most of the exchange, finally spoke. Masters, we don't want to cause trouble. We just need to figure out how to get back to our own dimension, preferably before Bulma notices we're gone and kills us all. Bulma can't kill us, Goku scoffed. She's not a fighter. She's scarier than any fighter we've faced, Krillin countered. Remember when she hit you so hard you flew through 3 mountains? That's because I wasn't defending myself. It would be rude to block Chi-Chi or Bulma. Your wife hits you through mountains, Ahsoka asked, having slipped into the council chamber to observe. Regularly? Only when I do something dumb. Which, to be fair, is pretty often. Anakin caught Obi-Wan's eye, and both Jedi shared a look of profound understanding. These beings, despite their godlike power, were complete and utter idiots. Well, most of them. The green one and the scholarly-looking younger one seemed relatively sane. A decision we must make, Yoda declared. Dangerous these warriors are, but enemies they do not seem to be. They're definitely not Separatist agents, Anakin confirmed. They don't even seem to understand what the Separatists are. Are they the ones with the pointy ships or the triangle ships? Goku asked. See? Anakin gestured. Complete tactical ignorance. However, Obi-Wan interjected carefully, they also represent power beyond anything we've encountered. If they fell into the wrong hands, say Count Dooku's or the Separatist leadership, the balance of this war could shift catastrophically. Are you suggesting we detain them? Ki-Adi-Mundi asked. Could we? Shak-Ti wondered aloud. I'm not certain our containment systems could hold beings who survive in hard vacuum and deflect turbolaser fire. You couldn't, Vegeta stated flatly. and I'd advise against trying. The last people who tried to imprison Kakarot ended up regretting it. Extensively. Was that before or after the brain damage? Piccolo asked dryly. After. Why? Just checking if we need to add prison breaks to his list of character-defining traits. The council chamber's hollow communicator suddenly chimed, and a shimmering blue figure appeared. Chancellor Palpatine, his grandfatherly features arranged in concern. Masters, I've heard the most unusual reports. 7 beings who can survive in space? Surely this is some mistake. Yoda's ears twitched. In the Force, something felt off. Not dark side precisely, but wrong. The Chancellor's presence had always been oddly muted in the Force, his signature difficult to read. But now, with these dimensional warriors present, there was something else, something that made the ancient master's instincts prickle. No mistake it is, Chancellor, Yoda confirmed. Guests from another dimension they claim to be. Palpatine's hologram turned toward Goku, and for just a moment, so brief that only Yoda caught it, the Chancellor's expression shifted. Calculation, hunger, interest. Then it was gone, replaced by benign curiosity. How extraordinary. We must extend every courtesy to these travelers. Perhaps they could address the Senate. Oh man, a Senate? Goku perked up. Is that like a tournament? I love tournaments. It's not a tournament, Gohan explained gently. Then I'm already less interested. As the council debated their next steps, none of them noticed Vegeta's sharp gaze fixed on the Chancellor's hologram. The Saiyan Prince's instincts, honed by years of serving under tyrants, recognizing something familiar in those calculating eyes. He'd seen that look before, on Frieza, on every despot who'd ever tried to use the Saiyans as weapons. This would be interesting. Count Dooku's private quarters aboard his solar sailor reflected the former Jedi's refined tastes, elegant Serenian furnishings, authentic art from a dozen systems, and a small meditation chamber where he'd once practiced Jedi techniques before embracing the truth of the dark side. Currently, he was doing something he rarely did, staring in utter confusion at a holographic recording. "Play it again," he commanded his protocol droid. The recording replayed for the 5th time. 7 humanoids floating in hard vacuum during the Battle of Coruscant's orbital zone, arguing with each other while casually deflecting turbo-laser fire. One of them, the short, bald one, had generated a flash of light that had temporarily blinded every optical system in the sector. Another, the tall one with the dramatic cape, had been meditating in the void of space without any visible life support. The 3rd time, one of them had simply swatted a turbo laser bolt aside with his bare hand. Dooku paused the recording. "Tell me," he addressed General Grievous, who stood nearby with his arms folded behind his back, "that my eyes deceive me." "Your eyes function perfectly, Count," Grievous rasped. "I observed them myself. Their power is unlike anything in our databases. Not Jedi, not Sith, not any Force-using tradition I've encountered across 1,000 worlds." "Because they don't use the Force at all," Dooku mused, his aristocratic features thoughtful. "I've felt disturbances in the Force before, younglings discovering their power, ancient artifacts activating, even my master's overwhelming presence. But these beings," he gestured at the frozen hologram, "they exist outside the Force entirely, and yet they possess abilities that would make them peer to the most powerful Force users in history." "Weapons," Grievous stated simply. "Weapons we could use against the Republic. My dear General, one does not simply use beings of such power. One negotiates, one offers mutual benefit, one appeals to their self-interest." Dooku's lips curved into a slight smile. "Fortunately, appealing to self-interest has always been my specialty." The hologram shifted to a new recording, this one from a spy within the Jedi Temple's vicinity. The council had taken the warriors into custody, though custody seemed a generous term for beings who'd apparently agreed to go along out of curiosity more than compulsion. "They're meeting with the council now," Grievous reported. "Our intelligence suggests the Jedi are attempting to understand their origins and capabilities. While the Jedi debate philosophy and proper procedure, we will act." Dooku stood, his cape sweeping dramatically. "Prepare my personal transport, and have the kitchens prepare an extensive selection of delicacies from across the galaxy." Grievous's mechanical eyes focused on his master. "Delicacies?" One of the warriors, the spike-haired one who appears to be their leader, spent his entire time in Republic custody asking about food. Dooku smiled thinly. "Everyone has a weakness, General. Even dimension-hopping warriors who deflect turbolaser fire. We simply need to discover what they truly want. And if they refuse, then we learn something valuable about their character. Information is never wasted." Dooku accessed his private comm system, one that didn't route through separatist intelligence channels. This was a call for his master alone. The hologram that appeared was hooded, features obscured, but the voice was unmistakable. Dry, amused, and containing depths of power that made even Dooku's considerable abilities seem like a candle before a sun. "My apprentice, I've sensed a disturbance. Master, 7 warriors from another dimension have appeared during the Battle of Coruscant. They possess abilities beyond our understanding, immune to vacuum, capable of flight without technology, and apparently able to destroy planets." A long pause. Then, with calculated interest, "Destroy planets?" One of them mentioned it casually during their detention. The Jedi believe it was hyperbole, but I've watched the recordings. These beings do not boast. They state facts with the casual certainty of those who've nothing to prove. "Bring them to me." "Master, the Jedi." "The Jedi will debate and discuss and meditate while opportunity slips through their fingers, as they always do. You will act decisively, find what motivates these warriors and offer it to them. We stand at the precipice of galactic transformation. Such beings could tip the balance irrevocably in our favor." The hologram disappeared, leaving Dooku alone with his thoughts. His master was right, of course. The Jedi would hesitate, bound by their codes and councils. But Count Dooku had freed himself from such restrictions when he left the Order. Still, something about the recordings troubled him. The warriors were powerful, yes, but they were also chaotic, undisciplined. They argued like children and showed no tactical awareness whatsoever. Were such beings truly useful, or would they prove more dangerous to their allies than their enemies? Only one way to find out. The Jedi Council had finally released Goku and his companions with the equivalent of a galactic restraining order. Stay in the Temple District, don't destroy anything, and please stop asking every clone trooper about fighting tournaments. They'd been assigned temporary quarters in the Temple's guest wing, where visiting dignitaries usually stayed. Goku was already bored. "There's gotta be something to do in a city this big," he said, staring out at Coruscant's endless urban sprawl. "Look at all those buildings. Bet there's tons of strong fighters down there." "Goku, the Jedi specifically asked us not to start any incidents," Gohan reminded his father, already recognizing the signs of impending disaster. "I'm not gonna start anything. I just want to explore. Maybe find some food. That Jedi ration bar thing they gave us was not filling." "It was designed for a standard humanoid metabolism," Piccolo noted. "Not for Saiyans who eat enough to feed a battalion." "Exactly. I'm starving." Vegeta stood by the window, his arms crossed, his expression contemplative. Unlike the others, he wasn't complaining about the food or the accommodations. He was thinking. "Something's wrong with this place," he said quietly. Krillin looked up from examining the room's technology, fascinatingly advanced in some ways, primitive in others. "What do you mean?" "This war they're fighting. The Clone Wars. Vegeta's eyes narrowed. The scale, the resources being expended, the casual mention of clone armies and droid soldiers. This isn't a normal conflict. This is manufactured. How can you tell? Gohan asked, his scholarly instincts immediately engaged. Because I've seen it before. Frieza used to engineer conflicts between worlds, let them weaken each other, then sweep in and conquer the survivors. It's an old tactic. The question is, who benefits from this Clone Wars? The Jedi said they're fighting for the Republic against the Separatists, Piccolo offered. And they mentioned someone called the Chancellor controls the Republic, Vegeta continued. That hologram we saw. Did any of you notice how he looked at Kakarot? Like he was analyzing him, Piccolo confirmed, his Namekian hearing having caught subtle inflections the others missed. Measuring. Calculating value. Like Frieza used to look at new recruits to the planet trade. Vegeta's fist clenched. I know that look. That's the look of someone who sees people as tools. Whoa, hold on, Krillin interjected. Are you saying this Chancellor guy might be evil? He seemed pretty grandfatherly to me. So did Master Roshi until you got to know him, Vegeta countered. That's actually a fair point. Before they could continue their political analysis, there was a gentle knock at the door. Gohan opened it to find a protocol droid in immaculate condition, its golden plating polished to a mirror sheen. Good evening, distinguished guests. I am C4PLO, protocol droid in the service of Count Dooku of Sereno. My master extends an invitation to dine aboard his personal vessel this evening. He wishes to discuss matters of mutual interest. Food. Goku perked up immediately. Did you say dine? Indeed, sir. Count Dooku has prepared an extensive selection of delicacies from across the galaxy. I'm in. Goku, wait. Gohan grabbed his father's GI. We don't know this Count Dooku. The Jedi didn't mention him. Actually, they did, Piccolo said grimly. He's the Separatist leader, the enemy commander. Oh, Goku blinked. So, no food then. The enemy is offering us dinner, Vegeta said slowly, a predatory smile crossing his features. How interesting. He wants to recruit us. Should we go? Tien asked, his third eye focusing intently on the protocol droid, which seemed uncomfortable under the extra scrutiny. Absolutely, Vegeta decided. This Count Dooku is the first person in this dimension who's acted intelligently. He recognized our value immediately and moved to secure it before the Jedi finished their debates. I want to meet someone with that kind of tactical acumen. Plus free food, Goku added. Plus free food, Vegeta agreed with surprising candor. This is a terrible idea, Gohan muttered. Your objection is noted, Piccolo said, already moving toward the door. But I agree with Vegeta. We need to understand the players in this conflict. The Jedi gave us their perspective. Let's hear the other side. Also, Krillin pointed out, if Dooku tries anything hostile, we can just, He made an explosive gesture with his hands. Not that we would, but we could, hypothetically. Deterrence through overwhelming power, Vegeta nodded approvingly. Finally, Krillin says something intelligent. Was that a compliment? Don't get used to it. C4PLO led them through the temple district to a private landing platform where Dooku's solar sailor waited. An elegant ship that looked more like an art piece than a military vessel. Its curved solar sail was retracted, but even dormant, the ship radiated wealth and refined taste. Count Dooku himself stood at the landing ramp, dressed in formal Serenian attire rather than his usual combat cape. He was tall, aristocratic, with silver hair and a neatly trimmed beard. His presence was commanding but not threatening, powerful but controlled. Gentlemen, welcome. His voice was cultured, educated, the accent suggesting high society and classical training. "I am Count Dooku of Sereno. I've taken the liberty of having my chefs prepare a selection of dishes I believe you'll find interesting." Goku's eyes lit up. "You had me at chefs. I thought I might." Dooku smiled slightly. "Please, come aboard. I promise you're in no danger. You have my word as a nobleman of Sereno that this evening is purely social, an opportunity for civilized conversation between warriors." Vegeta studied the Count carefully. In another life, before Frieza's destruction and his forced servitude, Vegeta had been a prince. He recognized nobility when he saw it. Real nobility, not the purchased kind. This Dooku carried himself with the confidence of someone born to command. "Very well," Vegeta said, speaking for the group without bothering to consult them. "But understand this, Count. If you try to imprison us, threaten us, or waste our time with manipulation, I'll reduce your ship to atoms. I've destroyed planets for less." "I would expect nothing less from someone of your evident stature," Dooku replied smoothly, not even flinching at the threat. "I assure you I'm far more interested in conversation than confrontation. Now, shall we discuss these matters over dinner? I have a particularly excellent Alderaanian wine that pairs wonderfully with—" "Is there meat?" Goku interrupted. "Enough to feed a battalion." "Then let's go." As they boarded the Solar Sailor, none of them noticed the small holographic recorder in C4PLO's optical sensor, transmitting everything back to multiple interested parties: the Jedi Council, Separatist intelligence, and a shadowy office deep in the Republic Senate building, where an old man watched the recording with an expression of infinite patience and growing interest. The game had changed. New pieces had entered the board, and Palpatine had always excelled at games. Count Dooku's dining chamber was a masterpiece of understated elegance. Real wood paneling from Kashyyyk, subtle lighting that shifted to match the courses being served, and a table that could comfortably seat 20, but currently hosted only 8. The food arrived in waves: nerf steaks from Alderaan, roasted tip-yip from Naboo, exotic fruits from Felucia, and dishes whose names Goku didn't bother learning before devouring them. "Your chefs," Goku announced between his 7th and 8th plate, "are amazing. This is way better than the ration bars." "I'll convey your compliments," Dooku said, watching with barely concealed fascination as the spike-haired warrior consumed more food than should physically fit in his body. "Though I must admit, I've never seen anyone eat quite so enthusiastically." "You should see him at an all-you-can-eat buffet," Krillin muttered. "3 restaurants have banned him for life." 4, Gohan corrected quietly. There was that incident in West City last month. Vegeta, meanwhile, was eating with surprising refinement, his royal upbringing showing through. He'd selected specific dishes, paired them thoughtfully, and actually used the provided utensils rather than his hands. Dooku noticed. "You carry yourself as nobility," the Count observed, "not common among warriors." "Because I am nobility," Vegeta replied, meeting Dooku's gaze directly. "Prince of all Saiyans, or I was, before my race was genocided by a galactic tyrant." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Even Goku stopped eating, which was saying something. "I see," Dooku said carefully. "Then we share something in common. I too know what it means to watch an empire destroy everything you value." "Do you?" Vegeta's tone was sharp. "Did you watch your planet explode? Did you spend years as a slave soldier, forced to conquer worlds for the creature that murdered your people? Did you bow and scrape before a tyrant who could kill you with a thought, all while dreaming of the day you'd be strong enough to make him pay?" Piccolo placed a hand on Vegeta's shoulder. "Vegeta." "No." Vegeta shrugged off the Namekian's hand. "I'm tired of pretending. This Count wants to recruit us. fine, but he should know exactly what he's trying to recruit. Dooku leaned back, his expression thoughtful. Far from being put off by Vegeta's outburst, he seemed intrigued. "Tell me about this tyrant, this Frieza." And so Vegeta did. He told the story of the Planet Trade Organization, of Frieza's casual cruelty and overwhelming power. He spoke of the Saiyan race's destruction, of Goku's battle on Namek, of the transformations and struggles, and the final desperate fight that had ended with Frieza's death at the hands of the very Saiyan he'd considered an inferior monkey. Dooku listened to it all in silence. When Vegeta finished, the Count steepled his fingers thoughtfully. "And after defeating this Frieza, you returned to your Earth." Eventually, Goku took over the story. But then his dad showed up, and then there were androids, and then a bug man from the future, and then a pink blob that nearly destroyed the universe, and honestly, it's been a pretty busy few years. "Multiple extinction-level threats," Dooku murmured. "And you've survived them all." "More than survived. You've triumphed. Tell me, do your leaders appreciate what you've done for them?" "Leaders?" Goku looked confused. "You mean like the king?" "Earth doesn't really have a unified government," Gohan explained. "There are multiple nations with their own leaders, but no single authority." "Chaos," Dooku observed. "Competing interests, political infighting, resources wasted on internal conflicts rather than collective good." "It's called democracy," Piccolo countered. "People choosing their own path rather than having it dictated by those who think they know better." "And how well has that served them?" Dooku's voice was reasonable, almost gentle. "How many died while your Earth's democratic nations debated what to do about Frieza, about these androids, about the pink blob?" "Actually, Earth was pretty much destroyed during that last one," Krillin admitted. "We had to wish everyone back with the Dragon Balls." "Wish them back?" Dooku's eyes gleamed. "Yes, you mentioned these Dragon Balls to the Jedi Council, magical artifacts that can reverse death itself. Tell me, do your Earth's governments control access to these artifacts?" "Bulma's family has the radar that finds them," Goku said around a mouthful of Nerf steak. "Why?" "Because in my experience, power that significant attracts the attention of those who would misuse it. Surely there have been villains who sought these Dragon Balls for themselves." "Oh, tons," Goku nodded. "Red Ribbon Army, King Piccolo, Frieza. The androids tried to find them once. And each time, you and your companions stopped them through personal power rather than institutional authority." Dooku leaned forward slightly. "Don't you see? You've been protecting your world despite the chaos of democratic governance, not because of it. Imagine what you could accomplish with proper organization, with leadership that could mobilize resources efficiently, with a system designed for action rather than endless debate." "That sounds familiar," Vegeta said dangerously. "Frieza said similar things. The Planet Trade brought order to the galaxy, made things efficient. And was Frieza's order based on mutual benefit or on tyranny?" "What's the difference?" Piccolo challenged. "Order through fear is still tyranny." "The difference," Dooku replied, "is that I'm offering you a choice. The Republic, this democracy I'm fighting against, would see you as weapons to be controlled, assets to be deployed according to the will of bureaucrats who've never stepped onto a battlefield. The Jedi Council wants to study you, understand you, fit you into their doctrine of the Force. And you want to use us to win your war," Gohan said quietly. "I want to offer you agency," Dooku corrected. "The Separatist Alliance fights because the Republic has become corrupt, bloated, ineffective. We're worlds that want self-determination, the right to govern ourselves without interference from Coruscant's politicians who care more about their careers than the people they claim to represent. "And the droid armies?" Tien asked, his third eye fixed unwaveringly on Dooku. "The battle droids we saw trying to kill people? Regrettable necessities of war, but consider, droids can be reprogrammed, rebuilt. They're not living beings forced to fight and die. Unlike the Republic's clone army, literally manufactured slaves created to fight a war they never chose." That made Goku pause mid-bite. "Slaves? Every clone trooper you've met was grown in a facility on Kamino, designed from birth to be soldiers. They have no choice, no freedom. They exist solely to serve the Republic's military needs." Dooku's voice carried genuine emotion. "I fought alongside the Jedi for decades. I know how they think. They'll tell you the clones are purpose-bred, that they're fulfilling their intended function. They'll use pleasant euphemisms to disguise the fundamental immorality." "That's not," Gohan started, then stopped. Was it not true? The clone troopers they'd met had been friendly, professional, but had any of them ever suggested they wanted to be anything other than soldiers? Vegeta was very still, his usual aggression replaced by something more dangerous, thought. "These clones, they're property of the Republic. Technically, they're purchased from the Kaminoans. The Republic pays for them, deploys them, and when they die," Dooku shrugged elegantly, "more are manufactured. And the Jedi lead them. The Jedi have become generals in this war, yes, a role that fundamentally contradicts their stated philosophy of peace, but one they've embraced nonetheless because the Republic demanded it." Piccolo's antennae twitched with agitation. He could sense the manipulation in Dooku's words, the way each statement was crafted to exploit their backgrounds, their traumas with tyrants and slavery. But he could also sense truth. These clones were created to fight. That was uncomfortably close to slavery. "You're good at this," Piccolo said flatly. "Finding the cracks, applying pressure. What's your real angle, Dooku?" The Count smiled slightly. "My angle is survival. The Republic is failing. This war will end one way or another, and when it does, I'd rather have warriors of your caliber as allies than enemies. Or worse, as weapons in the hands of the Jedi Council." "Let me get this straight," Krillin said, setting down his utensils. "You're offering us what, exactly? Join the Separatists, fight your war, help you win." "I'm offering you information, resources to return to your dimension, and in exchange, non-interference. Don't ally with the Republic. Don't allow the Jedi to use you. Remain neutral until you can go home." "And if we do interfere," Vegeta asked, "then we become enemies, and this very pleasant dinner will be the last civil interaction we have." Dooku's tone didn't change, but something in his eyes did. "I hope that doesn't happen. I find you all quite fascinating." Goku wiped his mouth, finally looking serious. "You know what? This whole thing is way too complicated. Back home, it's usually pretty simple. Strong guy tries to destroy Earth. We fight him, we win. Sometimes we lose first, then we train and win later. But this?" He gestured around the dining room. "Clones and separatists and republic and Jedi and democracy and order, it's all just politics." "Politics determines who lives and who dies," Dooku countered. "Surely someone who's fought to save his world understands that. I understand that when people start making speeches about order and efficiency and what's best for everyone, usually they mean what's best for them." Goku's eyes met Dooku's directly. "Thanks for the food. It was really good. But we're not joining anybody's war until we understand what we're really fighting for." Dooku studied Goku for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Wiser than you appear, Son Goku. Very well. My offer of non-interference stands. If you decide the Republic is worth fighting for, I'll understand. But I hope you'll consider what I've said about the clones, about the Jedi's hypocrisy, about the nature of this war. "We'll think about it," Vegeta said, standing. "But Count Dooku, if you've lied to us about any of this, if you're manipulating us the way Frieza used to manipulate his soldiers, I'll find out. And then your Solar Sailor, your Separatist alliance, and you will cease to exist." "Noted," Dooku replied calmly. "C4PLO will see you back to your quarters." As they left the dining chamber, Dooku permitted himself a small smile. The seeds were planted, not enough to recruit them, not yet, but enough to make them question the Jedi, to see the Republic's flaws. That was all he needed, for now. In the Temple District, as the Zed fighters returned to their assigned quarters, none of them spoke. Each was lost in thought, processing what they'd learned. The galaxy they'd stumbled into was far more complex than any of them had anticipated, and somewhere in the Senate building, Palpatine watched the recording of the dinner, his ancient eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Dooku had performed admirably, introducing doubt exactly where it needed to be. Now it was time for the next move. Time to show these warriors what true power looked like. The next morning arrived with an unwelcome surprise, a formal summons to appear before the Galactic Senate. Not a request, a summons delivered by a very nervous protocol droid who clearly drew the short circuit in being assigned to wake up 7 dimension-hopping warriors who'd already destroyed 2 training remotes by accident the previous evening. "This is stupid," Vegeta announced, glaring at the formal robes someone had left for them. "I'm not wearing that." "The Senate wishes to understand who you are and what your intentions are in Republic space," the protocol droid explained in a trembling voice. "It's standard procedure for unprecedented arrivals. We fell through a hole in space because Kakarot can't follow simple instructions," Vegeta gestured at Goku. "That's our intention. Accidental tourism. Nevertheless, Chancellor Palpatine has specifically requested your presence." That made Piccolo's antennae twitch. The Chancellor, the one Dooku was so dismissive of last night. "Count Dooku is a traitor and terrorist," the droid said primly. "His opinions are not recognized by legitimate Republic authority." "Funny how everyone's a terrorist to the people they're fighting," Krillin muttered. An hour later, they found themselves in the Senate chamber, a massive circular auditorium with thousands of floating platforms, each representing a different world or sector. The architecture was simultaneously impressive and ridiculous, designed more for spectacle than function. Senators floated in repulsor pods, shouting across the vast space, while Chancellor Palpatine presided from the central podium with an expression of patient grandfatherly concern. "Honored beings from beyond our galaxy," Palpatine's voice carried across the chamber, amplified by the acoustics and technology. "The Galactic Republic welcomes you. We understand your arrival was unintentional, and we wish only to ensure mutual understanding and peaceful coexistence during your stay." "He sounds nice," Goku whispered to Gohan. "Way nicer than Dooku made him sound." "That's what worries me," Gohan whispered back. Senators immediately began shouting questions, their repulsor pods jockeying for position to be heard. A Rhodian senator demanded to know if they were separatist weapons. A Twi'lek representative wanted assurances they wouldn't interfere in sovereign systems. A human senator from Corellia suggested they be conscripted into Republic military service immediately. "Conscripted?" Vegeta's voice cut through the chaos like a plasma blade through butter. The entire Senate chamber fell silent. Did that fool just suggest conscripting us? The Corellian senator, emboldened by distance and the presence of security, puffed up importantly. "The Republic has the authority to mobilize assets in times of war." "Assets!" Vegeta's ki flared, barely visible but enough to make every force sensitive in the building flinch. "Call me an asset again, please. I'm begging you." "Master Vegeta," Palpatine interjected smoothly, his voice soothing. Senator Kryzo spoke without thinking. The Republic would never presume to command beings of your evident power and independence. We seek only cooperation, not compulsion. Smart man, Vegeta said, his key eye settling. You should keep him talking and the idiots quiet. Scattered laughter rippled through the Senate. Apparently, calling senators idiots played well with rival political factions. Palpatine's expression remained benign, but those watching carefully might have noticed a flicker of something else. Interest, calculation. Perhaps you could share with the Senate how you came to be in our galaxy. We're all quite curious. So Goku explained, with increasing interjections from the others, to correct his more creative interpretations of events. The dimensional stabilizer, the button, the purple portal, the fact that they had no idea how to get home and Bulma was probably furious by now. Fascinating, Palpatine murmured. Dimensional travel. The Force has shown us glimpses of other realities, but never has anyone physically crossed such barriers. You are truly unique. We get that a lot, Krillin said. Usually right before someone tries to kill us or recruit us for their army. The Republic seeks neither, Palpatine assured him. However, we would be grateful if you could assist the Jedi in understanding your abilities. Knowledge shared benefits all. What kind of assistance? Piccolo asked, his tone neutral but his eyes sharp. Simple demonstrations. Perhaps sparring with Jedi Knights to understand how your abilities differ from Force powers. Nothing invasive or harmful. They want to study us, Tien said flatly. They want to understand, Palpatine corrected gently. Surely beings as powerful as yourselves aren't threatened by scholarly curiosity. It was masterfully done, appealing to pride while presenting refusal as cowardice. Vegeta recognized the manipulation immediately because he'd used it himself countless times. We're not threatened by anything, Vegeta declared. Fine, we'll spar with your Jedi, but on our terms. No tricks, no surprise detainments, no accidents where we end up in maximum security for our own safety. You have my word as Chancellor of the Republic, Palpatine said, placing hand over heart. Across the Senate chamber in the Jedi's designated pod, Mace Windu exchanged glances with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Neither liked this development. Putting the dimensionally displaced warriors in a sparring scenario seemed designed to showcase their power to the entire Senate, which would inevitably lead to political factions trying to weaponize them. But they'd been outmaneuvered. Refusing now would appear as if the Jedi feared testing themselves against the outsiders. The Jedi Order accepts, Mace announced, his deep voice carrying authority. We'll arrange appropriate facilities. Excellent, Palpatine beamed. A demonstration of skill between warriors from different realities. I'm certain the entire galaxy will be watching with great interest. As the Senate session concluded and the Zed fighters were escorted out by a squadron of respectful but nervous Senate guards, Palpatine remained at his podium, watching them go. His public mask never slipped, but in his mind plans were already forming. These warriors were powerful, yes, but they were also naive, arguing openly about their own weaknesses and past defeats. They could be studied, understood, and eventually controlled, or eliminated, if control proved impossible. Either way, they represented an opportunity, and Darth Sidious had built an empire by never wasting opportunities. In a shadowed corner of the Senate building, a figure in dark robes observed the proceedings through a private holoscreen. Asajj Ventress, Dooku's assassin, smiled coldly. Her master had predicted the Chancellor would move to secure the warriors through political theater. Now came the interesting part. Would these dimensional travelers recognize the trap being set, or would they walk into it with the same cheerful ignorance they'd shown since arriving? She activated her encrypted comm. Master, they've agreed to spar with the Jedi. The Chancellor is moving faster than anticipated. Dooku's hologram appeared, his expression thoughtful. Good. Let the Jedi test them. We'll learn from their mistakes. And Ventress, make sure our agents record everything. Every technique, every weakness, every capability. When the time comes to act, I want complete intelligence. As you command. Back in their quarters, Goku was stretching enthusiastically. Finally, some action. I've been dying to see how strong these Jedi are. This is a terrible idea, Gohan said for what felt like the 100th time. Your objection remains noted, Piccolo replied. But we're committed now. We might as well make it educational. Educational how? Krillin asked. We learn about them. They learn about us. Everyone learns something. Piccolo's expression darkened. The question is, who learns faster? Vegeta stood at the window, looking out over Coruscant's endless cityscape. Somewhere out there, the pieces of this war were moving into position. The Jedi with their codes and councils, Dooku with his philosophical speeches and promises, Palpatine with his grandfatherly charm and careful words. Three sides of a conflict, each claiming righteousness, each believing they represented the galaxy's best interests. Vegeta had seen this play before. He'd lived this play. The question wasn't which side was right. The question was which side would try to use them first, and whether they'd survive the attempt. Piccolo, he said quietly. I know, the Namekian replied, equally quiet. Something's wrong here. This war, these factions, it doesn't add up. Agreed. We watch, we learn, and we prepare. For what? Vegeta's reflection in the window showed a grim smile. For the moment someone stops pretending they're our friend and reveals what they really want. That's when things get interesting. The Jedi training grounds occupied an entire level of the temple, a vast space where Padawans learned lightsaber forms and masters honed their connection to the Force. Currently, it was packed with spectators, Jedi Knights, Padawans, Senate representatives, HoloNet reporters, and approximately 300 battle-ready clone troopers stationed just in case. This is less friendly sparring and more public spectacle, Piccolo observed as they entered the arena. I like it, Goku announced, waving at the crowd. Several Padawans waved back uncertainly. Big crowds mean the fights are gonna be good. Mace Windu stood in the center of the arena, his purple lightsaber already ignited. Beside him were Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Kit Fisto, four of the Order's finest duelists. The message was clear. The Jedi were taking this seriously. We've established ground rules, Mace announced, his voice carrying across the arena. No lethal techniques, no permanent injury. The match ends when one side yields or is rendered unable to continue. Understood? Sure, Goku said cheerfully. Though I gotta warn you, we're pretty durable. Your definition of unable to continue might be different from ours. We'll adapt, Anakin said, and Obi-Wan shot him a warning look. The young Jedi's confidence sometimes outpaced his wisdom. Who's fighting first? Gohan asked nervously. I will, Piccolo stepped forward. Let's see what this Force can do against someone who's actually studied mystical energy manipulation. Kit Fisto, the Nautolan Jedi Master with the permanent grin, ignited his green lightsaber. I'll take this match, if you don't mind. I'm curious to see your techniques. The two warriors faced each other across the arena floor. Piccolo removed his weighted training cape and turban. They hit the ground with impacts that cracked the Durasteel floor, each piece weighing several hundred pounds. The Jedi in attendance murmured in surprise. Weighted training gear, Kit Fisto's grin widened. Clever. We use similar methods, though not quite so extreme. Let's begin, Piccolo said. Kit Fisto moved first, his lightsaber form a blur of green light. Shicho, the basic form, but executed with master-level precision. He closed the distance in a heartbeat, blade aimed for Piccolo's shoulder in a clear, non-lethal strike. Piccolo caught the lightsaber blade with his bare hand. The arena went silent. The plasma blade, which could cut through durasteel and vaporize flesh, sat harmless in Piccolo's green palm. The Namekian's ki aura flickered around the contact point, dispersing the energy before it could cause damage. Interesting weapon, Piccolo observed calmly. Contained plasma held in a magnetic field, right? The Force helps you control it. Kit Fisto's perpetual smile faltered. He tried to pull his lightsaber free, but Piccolo held it effortlessly. "How are you?" Piccolo released the blade and moved, a blur of motion that Kit Fisto's Force-enhanced reflexes barely tracked. A palm strike to the chest sent the Jedi Master flying backward, tumbling across the arena floor. Kit caught himself with a Force-assisted flip, landing in a ready stance. "You're fast," Kit acknowledged, breathing hard, "and strong. But can you match this?" He launched into Form 1's aggressive sequence, his blade weaving patterns that left no opening. Each strike was precise, controlled, designed to overwhelm through superior technique and Force-guided precognition. Piccolo dodged every single one without apparent effort, his body moving with economy of motion that made the Jedi's attacks look sluggish by comparison. Then he extended 2 fingers and fired a thin beam of ki. The special beam cannon drastically reduced in power. The beam punched through Kit Fisto's lightsaber blade, through his guard, and struck him in the shoulder with enough force to spin him around and drop him to one knee. The lightsaber sputtered and died, its internal mechanism damaged. "Yield," Piccolo said, not unkindly. "You fought well, but this is a mismatch." Kit Fisto, breathing heavily, nodded and stood. "I yield." That was humbling. What was that beam? Kai manipulation, condensed life energy shaped into a piercing attack. Where I come from, it's a fairly standard technique. "Standard," Kit repeated weakly. In the stands, Yoda's ears drooped slightly. Much to learn the galaxy had, and perhaps much to fear. Mace Windu stepped forward. "I'll take the next match. Who's your strongest?" "That'd be me or Vegeta," Goku said. "But I'll go first. This looks fun." Vegeta scowled but didn't object. He was curious to see how Kakarot handled these Force users and whether their techniques would prove genuinely interesting or simply another disappointment. Mace Windu faced Goku in the center of the arena, his purple blade humming. "I'm Master Windu of the Jedi Council. I've studied lightsaber combat for 40 years." "Cool. I'm Goku. I've been fighting since I was like 12, maybe younger. Honestly, it's all kind of a blur." "Your stance is full of openings," Mace observed. "Yeah, I'm not really a technical fighter," Goku admitted. "I just kind of go with it." Mace attacked his Vapad form, channeling his inner darkness into aggressive, unpredictable strikes. The style had allowed him to defeat Sith Lords, to channel their own dark side energy against them. His blade moved faster than normal human perception, guided by the Force's precognitive warnings. Goku blocked every strike with his finger. One finger, extended casually, meeting the lightsaber blade at every angle with impossible precision, the Kai around his fingertip preventing the plasma from causing any damage whatsoever. "Whoa, this is pretty cool," Goku said cheerfully. "It's like fighting a sword guy, but the sword's made of energy. Do you guys have different colors? I saw a blue one earlier." Mace Windu, one of the greatest duelists in Jedi history, attacked faster. His Vapad form pushed to its absolute limits, drawing on the Force to predict Goku's movements, to find an opening, to land even a single hit. Goku continued blocking with one finger, his expression politely interested. "Are you even trying?" Mace demanded, frustration bleeding through his Jedi calm. Not really, Goku admitted. You're not that strong. I mean, you're strong for here, probably, but where I come from, you'd be like early tournament level? Maybe mid-tournament if you trained really hard. The words were delivered without malice, without pride, just honest assessment, which somehow made them worse. Mace disengaged, breathing hard. You're toying with me. No, I'm just... You wanted to see what we could do, right? This is me at like, I don't know, maybe 5%? 10% if you count the energy I'm using to not accidentally hurt you. Anakin Skywalker stepped forward, his mechanical hand clenching. Let me try. Master Windu, with respect, I'd like to see if two of us can make a difference. Anakin, Obi-Wan started. I know my limits, Master, but I also know when we're facing something beyond our understanding. We need data. Mace nodded grimly. Together, then. Two Jedi Masters attacked in perfect coordination, their lightsabers weaving patterns that had defeated armies of battle droids and multiple Sith acolytes. Anakin's aggressive Gem-So form, combined with Mace's unpredictable Vapad, should have been overwhelming. Goku blocked both simultaneously, one finger for each blade, while having a conversation with Gohan in the stands. Hey Gohan, what do you think Chi-Chi's making for dinner tonight? Oh wait, we're not home. That's sad. I miss her cooking. Dad, focus. I am focused. See? Goku gestured at the two Jedi Masters, trying desperately to land a hit. I haven't gotten hit once. Vegeta burst out laughing, a genuine belly-deep laugh that startled everyone who heard it. Kakarot, you magnificent idiot. You're embarrassing them. I'm not trying to. That makes it better. Obi-Wan Kenobi watched from the sidelines, his analytical mind processing what he was seeing. This Goku wasn't enhanced by the Force. He wasn't using technology. He was simply that much faster, that much stronger, operating on a completely different scale of power. And he'd said this was 5%. What would happen at 100%? What kind of universe produced warriors like this? Mace and Anakin finally disengaged, both breathing hard, sweat pouring down their faces. They'd given everything, pushed themselves to their absolute limits. Goku hadn't even transformed. That was fun, Goku said brightly. You guys are pretty skilled. The laser sword thing is really cool. Can I try one? Lightsaber, Anakin corrected automatically, still catching his breath. And no, they require attunement to a kyber crystal and force sensitivity. Goku plucked Anakin's lightsaber from his hand, with a motion too fast to see, ignited it, and began spinning it experimentally. Huh, lighter than I expected. How do you use this without cutting yourself? Very carefully, multiple Jedi shouted at once. In the stands, Chancellor Palpatine watched through a private holoscreen, his expression thoughtful. This was even better than he'd hoped. These warriors were powerful beyond measure, untrained in the Force, and completely naive about galactic politics. Perfect weapons, if properly motivated. And Darth Sidious had spent decades learning exactly how to motivate the powerful. The question was, would they be more useful as allies or as martyrs? Time would tell. 3 days after the demonstration, the galaxy couldn't stop talking about it. HoloNet footage of Piccolo catching a lightsaber and Goku blocking Jedi Masters with one finger had gone viral across 1,000 systems. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was Republic propaganda. Military analysts argued about strategic implications, and every major faction in the galaxy began making plans. The Z fighters, meanwhile, had discovered Coruscant's lower levels. This place is amazing, Goku said, staring at the endless cityscape. It just keeps going down. How far does it go? According to the locals, thousands of levels. Gohan reported, his scholarly instincts having led him to interview several Coruscant residents. The lower you go, the less sunlight reaches you. Some people haven't seen natural sky in generations. That's depressing, Krillin muttered. They were currently in level 1313, a notorious sector where Republic law held minimal sway. The air was thick with moisture and industrial pollutants. Neon signs advertised everything from weapons to spice to companionship, and the crowds were distinctly less friendly than the upper levels. "Why are we down here again?" Tien asked, his third eye scanning for threats out of habit. "Because someone recognized us on level 100 and we got mobbed by fans," Vegeta said irritably. "Apparently, our little demonstration made us celebrities." "I signed like 50 autographs," Goku said happily. "You can't write, Goku," Piccolo pointed out. "I drew little stick figures. People seem to like them." A group of thugs, a Qualish, Weekay, and a particularly large Hawk, blocked their path. The leader, a scarred Aqualish with cybernetic eyes, sized them up with the practiced gaze of someone who'd mugged hundreds of tourists. "Nice clothes, off-worlders. Hand over your credits and nobody gets hurt." "We don't have credits," Goku said honestly. "We don't really have money from this dimension at all." "Then hand over whatever valuables you do have," Vegeta laughed. "You're attempting to rob us." "That's adorable. Kakarot, shall we let them try?" "Vegeta, no," Gohan said quickly. "We're trying to keep a low profile. Too late for that after your father's circus performance at the Jedi Temple." The Hawk, apparently tired of talking, swung a vibro axe at Piccolo's head. The Namekian caught it, ripped it from the alien's hands, and bent it into a pretzel shape before handing it back. "We're not interested in fighting street thugs," Piccolo said calmly. "Walk away." The thugs looked at the destroyed vibro axe, looked at Piccolo's utterly calm expression, and apparently decided discretion was the better part of not being folded into geometric shapes. They fled. "See?" Gohan said. "Peaceful resolution. We don't always have to—" An explosion rocked the level above them, raining debris. Through the dust and smoke, a figure descended, wrapped in dark robes. Twin red lightsabers ignited, her pale face twisted with focused aggression. Asajj Ventress. "Finally," she hissed. "Count Dooku wants to know what you're really capable of. The Jedi tested your defense. Let's test your offense." She attacked without preamble. Her dual lightsabers, a scarlet blur following Form 2's precise angles, combined with her own aggressive adaptations. Where Kit Fisto had been technically perfect and Mace Windu had been overwhelming force, Ventress was pure lethality. Every strike aimed to kill, to maim, to end the fight as quickly as possible. Krillin sighed and blocked both lightsabers with his forearms, his Kie aura protecting him from the plasma blades. "Can you people stop attacking us? We've been here less than a week." Ventress's eyes widened. She'd seen the HoloNet footage, but seeing it in person was different. This short, bald human was blocking her lightsabers, weapons that had killed Jedi Knights, with his bare arms. She disengaged and used the Force to throw a cargo container at them. Tien caught it with one hand and gently set it down. "Lady, you're outmatched," Tien said. "Stand down before someone gets hurt." "You think I'm alone?" Ventress smiled coldly. From the shadows emerged more figures, Dooku's private assassins, bounty hunters, and a squad of advanced battle droids. "The Count wants you tested, so let's test you." The ambush was well planned. Snipers on 3 levels provided covering fire. The assassins were enhanced with cybernetics and combat drugs. The droids were the expensive kind, programmed with years of combat data. This was a professional military operation designed to overwhelm even dangerous Force users. It lasted approximately 15 seconds. Vegeta moved first, a blur that ended with every sniper position destroyed simultaneously. Piccolo extended his arms to impossible lengths, disarming every assassin before they could fire a shot. Goku simply stood still and let the blaster bolts hit him. They left scorch marks on his GI but didn't penetrate his skin. Tien used solar flare again, blinding every electronic sensor and cybernetic eye. Krillin generated a destructo disc that sliced through the battle droids like a lightsaber through butter. Gohan, trying to minimize violence, used precise ki blasts to disable weapons and leg servos without killing anyone. When the dust settled, Ventress stood alone, her lightsabers deactivated, surrounded by unconscious or fleeing attackers. "Impossible," she whispered. "Pretty standard for us, actually," Vegeta said, brushing dust off his armor. "Now, you're going to deliver a message to your master. Tell Count Dooku that if he wants to test us again, he should come personally. We don't fight messenger girls." Ventress's rage blazed. "I am no one's messenger." She stopped mid-sentence because Vegeta was suddenly in front of her, his hand around her throat, lifting her off the ground. His expression was cold, controlled, but his eyes promised violence. "Let me be absolutely clear," Vegeta said quietly. "In our dimension, I was a prince who became a slave, who became a warrior who broke his chains and fought gods. I have been tortured by beings that make your Count Dooku look like a child playing at war. I have destroyed planets, killed thousands, and spent years as the right hand of the worst tyrant the universe has ever known. And I'm trying very, very hard to be better than that." He released her, letting her collapse to the ground. "But I will not be manipulated. I will not be tested. And I will not be used as a weapon in your petty war. Go tell Dooku that. And tell him if he sends assassins after us again, I'll pay him a personal visit. One he won't enjoy." Ventress fled, using the Force to enhance her speed, disappearing into the lower level's darkness. Piccolo watched her go. That could have been handled more diplomatically. "I'm not a diplomat," Vegeta replied. "I'm a warrior who's tired of people assuming we're stupid just because Kakarot keeps befriending the enemy." "I don't befriend the enemy," Goku protested. "I befriend everyone. It's different." "That's worse, Kakarot. That's actually worse." Above them, on level 1312, a hooded figure observed through the Force, not with eyes, but with centuries of experience reading the currents of destiny. Darth Sidious had watched the entire encounter, felt the warriors' power, analyzed their weaknesses. Physical strength, unmatched. Speed, beyond comprehension. Durability, apparently limitless. Energy projection, equivalent to capital ship weapons. Weaknesses, arrogance, naivety, internal conflicts, and a fascinating reluctance to kill even when attacked. Exploitable, definitely exploitable. But direct confrontation would be suicide. No, these warriors required a different approach, not force, not manipulation, but circumstance. Give them a cause they couldn't ignore, an enemy they couldn't befriend, a situation where their power became their only option. Sidious smiled in the darkness. He'd spent decades manufacturing the Clone Wars, playing both sides, orchestrating galactic events to his design. Adding 7-dimensional warriors to the equation was complex, yes, but complexity had always been where he excelled. "Soon," he whispered to the Force, "very soon. You'll show me your true nature, and when you do, I'll know exactly how to use you." In their temporary quarters at the Jedi Temple, the Z fighters regrouped, each processing what had happened. "Dooku's making his move," Piccolo said, "testing our abilities, our willingness to fight, our weaknesses. The Jedi are probably doing the same," Gohan added. That demonstration wasn't just about sparring. They were gathering intelligence. "And the Chancellor," Vegeta said quietly. "He's been too quiet since the Senate session, too accommodating." "You think he's planning something?" Krillin asked. I know he's planning something. The question is what? Goku, who'd been uncharacteristically quiet, finally spoke. This place reminds me of when we first met the androids. Everyone pulling strings, everyone playing games, and regular people just trying to survive in the middle. What did you do then? Tien asked. We stopped playing other people's games and started making our own decisions. Goku's expression was serious. Maybe it's time we did that here too. In the Force, Yoda felt a shift, not in the dark, not in the light, but in the fundamental pattern of destiny itself. The warriors were choosing their path, and whatever they chose would reshape the galaxy in ways even his centuries of wisdom couldn't predict. The Clone Wars was about to become infinitely more complicated. Order 66 was supposed to be elegant in its simplicity. A single command transmitted across the galaxy, activating programming buried deep in every clone trooper's behavioral chip. The Jedi, spread thin across thousands of worlds, would be eliminated simultaneously. No warning, no chance to escape, no possibility of organized resistance. Palpatine had spent decades perfecting this moment. He hadn't accounted for 7-dimensional warriors with a bad habit of being in exactly the wrong place at exactly the wrong time. The command went out at 1700 hours, Coruscant Standard Time. Across the galaxy, clone troopers turned on their Jedi generals. On Kashyyyk, Commander Gree attempted to execute Master Yoda. On Mygeeto, Commander Bakara gunned down Ki-Adi-Mundi. On Felucia, Isla Sakura fell to her own troops. On Cato Nemoidia, Plo Koon's fighter was destroyed mid-flight. On Coruscant, in the Jedi Temple, the 501st Legion marched with cold precision, led by the newly christened Darth Vader. And standing in the temple's entrance, having returned from another food run in the lower levels, was Goku. "Hey," Goku called out cheerfully to the approaching clone troopers. "You guys okay? You look really serious. Did someone die?" "Stand aside, civilian," Commander Appo ordered, his voice flat, mechanical. "By order of the Supreme Chancellor, the Jedi Order is charged with treason. We're here to execute sentence." Goku blinked. "Wait, what? Treason? But the Jedi are the good guys, aren't they?" "Stand aside or be designated an enemy combatant." Behind Goku, the temple doors opened. Piccolo emerged, his expression immediately hardening as he saw the assembled clone force. His Namekian hearing had picked up the sounds of battle inside, lightsabers, blaster fire, screaming. "Goku, they're killing the Jedi inside the temple. I can hear it." Goku's cheerful expression vanished. "What?" "All units, weapons free," Appo commanded. The 501st opened fire, hundreds of clone troopers, their training perfect, their aim true, laying down a withering barrage that would have shredded a company of battle droids. Goku stood in front of the temple entrance and let every bolt hit him. They scorched his GI, generated impressive sound effects, and accomplished absolutely nothing else. "Stop shooting!" Goku shouted over the blaster fire. "What's wrong with you guys? The Jedi are your friends." "The Jedi are traitors," Appo repeated mechanically. "They must be eliminated." Inside the temple, Anakin Skywalker, no, Darth Vader now, moved through the halls with cold efficiency, his lightsaber ending the lives of Padawans who'd trusted him, looked up to him, called him friend. The dark side sang in his veins, drowning out everything else. The younglings fled before him, their small voices crying for help that wouldn't come. Then Vegeta appeared from a side corridor, having been exploring the temple's training facilities when the attack began. He took one look at the scene. Children fleeing, Anakin pursuing with active lightsaber, bodies of young Force users littering the hallway, and something in his expression shifted. "You," Vegeta said quietly, "you're killing children." Anakin, Vader, turned, his eyes yellow with the dark side. They're Jedi, by order of the Supreme Chancellor. I don't care about your Chancellor's orders. Vegeta's Kai began to flare, gold energy crackling around him. I've seen this before. Frieza used the same excuse, just following orders. They were a threat. It was necessary for peace. Vader attacked, his Gemso form amplified by rage and the dark side. He was stronger now, faster, channeling his pain and anger into power, just as Palpatine had taught him. Vegeta caught the lightsaber mid-swing. I was like you once, Vegeta said, his voice carrying a weight of bitter experience. A weapon for a monster, following orders, killing because I was told to, convincing myself it was necessary. Do you know what that makes you? Powerful, Vader growled. Weak. Vegeta released the lightsaber and struck Vader in the chest with a palm strike that sent the new Sith Lord crashing through 3 walls. Real strength is choosing your own path. What you're doing. This is slavery. You've just traded one master for another. Outside, more Z fighters had arrived, drawn by the sounds of battle. They found Goku still standing in the entrance, clone troopers still firing uselessly at him, clearly confused about why their target wasn't dying. Enough, Piccolo roared, his power exploding outward in a wave that knocked every clone trooper flat without seriously injuring them. What's happening here? A Jedi Master, wounded, bleeding, staggered from the temple. Order 66, the clones, turned on us. Palpatine, he's the Sith Lord. He's been controlling everything. The Master collapsed. Gohan caught him, his scholar's mind racing. The Chancellor? The Sith? Dooku mentioned a Master, Krillin realized. We thought he meant some separatist leader. But what if... The Clone Wars were a setup, Piccolo finished grimly. Both sides controlled by the same person, and we just watched it play out. Inside the temple, Vader emerged from the rubble of the walls Vegeta had sent him through. His armor was cracked, his breathing labored, but he stood, lightsaber still active. You don't understand, Vader said. The Jedi betrayed the Republic. They tried to assassinate the Chancellor. And you believed him? Vegeta's laugh was bitter. After everything you've seen, everything you've learned, you believed a politician who conveniently gave you unlimited power right when you needed it most? He saved my wife. Did he? Vegeta's eyes narrowed. Or did he create the situation where she needed saving? That's what tyrants do. They create the problem and offer themselves as the solution. Vader hesitated. For just a moment, behind the yellow eyes and dark side corruption, Anakin Skywalker remembered. Remembered the dreams that started right when Palpatine needed him vulnerable. Remembered how conveniently the Jedi Council distrusted him. Remembered how perfectly everything fell into place. No, Vader said, but his voice wavered. No, I did this to save... You did this because you were manipulated, Vegeta interrupted. I recognize it because I lived it. Frieza was a master at making his victims think they chose their fate, that they were special, that only through serving him could they protect what they loved. Outside, the clone troopers were recovering, their programming driving them to complete their mission despite the obvious futility. More clones were arriving, companies, battalions, all converging on the temple to eliminate what was supposed to be a scattered, disorganized resistance. Instead, they found 6 warriors who could shrug off turbo laser fire and a Namekian who could stretch his arms to impossible lengths. We can't hurt them, Goku said desperately. They're being controlled. It's not their fault. Agreed, Piccolo said. Non-lethal suppression only. Tien, Krillin, work on disabling weapons. Gohan, protect any Jedi you find. Goku, you're on crowd control. What about you? I'm going to find whoever's behind this and have a very pointed conversation. In the Senate building, Palpatine, now openly Darth Sidious, watched the temple surveillance feeds with growing concern. His plan was unraveling. The clones couldn't harm the dimensional warriors. Vader was hesitating. And worst of all, these idiots were actually saving Jedi, pulling them from the carnage, establishing a defensive perimeter. "Interesting," he murmured. "They choose heroism even when it complicates everything. How predictable." He activated his personal comm. "Lord Vader, withdraw from the temple. The situation has changed." But Vader wasn't responding. He was still standing in the hallway, Vegeta's words echoing in his mind, staring at the bodies of Padawans he'd killed, children who'd trusted him. What had he done? What had he become? And most terrifying of all, had Palpatine planned this too? The Senate building's executive office was a monument to understated power, elegant, refined, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Coruscant's glittering skyline. Chancellor Palpatine had ruled the Republic from this room for years, manipulating senates and generals, Jedi and separatists, all while hiding his true nature behind a mask of grandfatherly concern. That mask was gone now. Darth Sidious stood at the window, his yellow Sith eyes reflecting the city lights, his dark robes replacing the Chancellor's finery. The Force swirled around him like a storm, decades of accumulated power, knowledge stretching back to ancient Sith teachings, and a will that had reshaped galactic history. The door exploded inward. Piccolo, Vegeta, and Goku walked through the wreckage, their expressions ranging from grim determination to confused anger to Goku's characteristic directness. "So you're the guy behind everything," Goku said, pointing at Sidious. "The Jedi, the clones, the whole war. That's pretty messed up." "Messed up?" Sidious smiled, an expression that contained no warmth whatsoever. "I prefer visionary. The Republic was dying, bloated, corrupt, paralyzed by democracy's inherent weakness. I simply provided the cure." "By killing everyone who opposed you," Vegeta stated flatly. "By creating order from chaos, by ending the Jedi's millennium of stagnation, by building an empire that will bring peace and prosperity to 1,000 systems." Sidious gestured expansively. "You, of all beings, should understand. You come from a dimension where the strong rule and the weak serve, where power determines hierarchy. Is that not right, Prince of the Saiyans?" Vegeta's eye twitched. "Don't presume to understand me, old man." "But I do understand. I've studied the recordings from your sparring matches, your conversations, your backgrounds." Sidious moved away from the window, his presence filling the room like poison gas. "You were a slave to this Frieza, forced to serve despite your royal blood. You know what it means to be trapped by circumstances beyond your control, and yet you judge me for taking control of my circumstances." "Frieza was a tyrant who murdered billions," Vegeta shot back. "You're describing the exact same thing with prettier words." "Am I? Tell me, in your dimension, how many died during your eternal cycle of threats? These beings you call the Red Ribbon Army, King Piccolo, the androids, this pink blob. How many innocent lives were lost because your Earth lacked the organization, the military structure, the centralized authority to respond effectively?" Piccolo's antennae twitched. "That's different. Is it? Or is it simply that you prefer chaos you can punch to order you must accept?" Sidious smiled. "I've brought stability. Yes, the transition is violent, but all births are. The Galactic Empire will eliminate the corruption that plagued the Republic. No more endless Senate debates while worlds burn. No more Jedi deciding which conflicts merit their attention. Just order, clean, efficient, permanent." "You're killing children," Goku said, his voice unusually hard. "In the temple, Anakin was killing kids. Jedi children who would have grown into Jedi adults, perpetuating a failed system. Sidious's yellow eyes gleamed. I note you've killed children yourself, Son Goku. Or have you forgotten the Saiyan race? Your own people, exterminated. By your own admission, you would have joined them in destroying Earth had you not received that convenient head injury as a child. Goku flinched. That was different. I was a baby. I didn't know exactly. You didn't know. You were a weapon aimed by circumstance, as were the clone troopers, as is Lord Vader, as are all tools of power. Sidious spread his hands. The difference between us is honesty. I acknowledge what I am. You pretend you're different while bodies pile up behind you. We protect people, Piccolo countered. We fight threats. And how many threats did I eliminate by ending the Clone Wars today? How many billions won't die in prolonged conflict because I acted decisively? Sidious's voice was reasonable, persuasive, the same tone he'd used to manipulate the Senate for decades. You view yourselves as heroes. I view you as what you truly are, weapons of incalculable power who've stumbled into a galaxy you don't understand. Then help us understand, Goku said suddenly. You're smart, right? Way smarter than me. You planned all this, so explain why killing the Jedi and making yourself Emperor helps anyone except you. Sidious regarded Goku with something almost like respect, refreshingly direct. Very well. The Jedi served themselves while claiming to serve the Force. They preached peace while commanding armies. They spoke of balance while enforcing their interpretation of light and dark. Their hypocrisy was a cancer at the heart of galactic civilization. And your solution was genocide, Vegeta said. My solution was evolution. The strong survive, the weak are culled. Your dimension operates on this principle constantly. Why does it offend you when I apply it here? Because we don't murder children, Goku shouted, his ki flaring gold for just an instant, Super Saiyan threatening to emerge. We fight threats, we protect people, we give second chances. You're not evolving anything, you're just killing everyone who disagrees with you. And when your threats refuse those second chances, when they return stronger, forcing you to kill them anyway, Sidious smiled coldly. You've killed how many enemies, Son Goku? Permanently. Finally. After giving them chances they used to hurt more innocents. I simply eliminate that middle step. The words hung in the air like poison. Because they were true. Goku had killed Frieza, eventually. Had killed Cell. Had fought Buu until the monster's complete destruction. Every time only after the body count had become unbearable. You know what the difference is? Piccolo said quietly. We hate it. Every time we're forced to end a life, it weighs on us. You're enjoying this. Sidious's smile widened. On the contrary, I'm beyond such petty emotions. I simply do what's necessary, which brings us to the relevant question. What will you do? Stop you, Vegeta said flatly. Obviously. Can you? Sidious's presence in the Force intensified. I am the most powerful Sith Lord in a millennium. My mastery of the dark side is absolute. And you, powerful as you are, know nothing of the Force. You're blind men in a world of light and shadow, stumbling through conflicts you can't comprehend. We beat Frieza, Goku said. We beat Cell. We beat Majin Buu. We beat guys who could destroy planets just by pointing at them. You're powerful here, maybe. But compared to what we've faced? He let the sentence hang. Sidious's expression shifted, calculation replacing confidence. He'd studied them, yes, knew their capabilities in raw power. But the Force was different. It could corrupt, manipulate, twist even the strongest will. Or could it? These beings existed outside the Force entirely. His most potent weapon, the ability to sense thoughts, to project fear, to crush wills, would be useless against them, which left only direct confrontation. And Sidious had survived for decades by avoiding fights he couldn't win. "I see," he said slowly. "You intend to oppose the Empire." "We intend to stop you from killing more people," Piccolo corrected. "What happens after? That's for this galaxy to decide." "Noble, naive, and ultimately futile," Sidious smiled. "But I admire the attempt. Tell me, do you truly believe you can stop an empire? I have armies, fleets, the loyalty of trillions. You have power, yes, but power without strategy is simply violence, and violence, while impressive, doesn't build civilizations." "Maybe not," Goku admitted, "but it sure can tear down bad ones." Sidious laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Then let us see who proves correct. The Empire or the Dimensional Warriors? Order or chaos? Evolution or stagnation?" He gestured and the window behind him shattered. Through it, Coruscant's sky filled with Star Destroyers. Dozens of them, their weapons priming, their hangar bays launching TIE fighters by the hundreds. "I've been building this for decades," Sidious said. "You've been here less than a week. The Jedi fought me and lost. Do you truly believe you'll fare better?" Vegeta's answer was to power up, his aura exploding around him in golden fury, Super Saiyan transformation complete, his hair spiking upward, his power multiplying 50-fold. "We don't need to understand your force to understand bullies and tyrants, and we've spent our lives beating those." "Fascinating," Sidious murmured, feeling the sheer energy radiating from Vegeta's transformed state. "Perhaps this will be interesting after all." The battle for Coruscant's future was about to begin, and for the first time in decades, Darth Sidious wasn't entirely certain of victory. The sky above Coruscant became a war zone. Star Destroyers unleashed turbo-laser barrages that lit up the atmosphere like green lightning. TIE fighters swarmed in formations designed to overwhelm capital ships, and standing in the shattered window of the Senate building, 7 warriors from another dimension prepared to do something they'd never done before: fight an entire military force without killing anyone. "Non-lethal only," Piccolo reminded them. "These are soldiers following orders. Most of them don't know what Palpatine really is." "Agreed," Vegeta said, surprising everyone. "We target weapon systems, engines, command structures. Disable, don't destroy." Goku grinned despite the situation. "Since when do you care about being nice?" "Since I realized we're not facing warriors, we're facing slaves. Just like the clone troopers." Vegeta's Super Saiyan aura crackled. "Palpatine's real crime isn't using power, it's removing choice. So we give it back." Below them, in the Temple District, the remaining Jedi were regrouping. Masters Yoda, Mace Windu, and Obi-Wan had survived the initial purge, along with dozens of knights and Padawans. The Dimensional Warriors had saved more lives in 10 minutes than the Jedi had thought possible. "Powerful allies they have become," Yoda observed, watching Goku fly through the air. Actually fly without ships or technology, deflecting turbo-laser bolts with his bare hands while laughing about how this is just like training with King Kai. "Allies or wildcards," Mace muttered, still processing how thoroughly these beings had invalidated everything he knew about combat. "Does it matter?" Obi-Wan asked. "They're fighting Palpatine. For now, that makes them friends." In orbit, Admiral Wolf Yularen commanded the Resolute, trying to make sense of the chaos. The Chancellor, no, the Emperor now, had declared martial law. The Jedi were traitors. The Republic was now an empire, and 7 beings who could survive in hard vacuum were systematically dismantling the Imperial fleet with their bare hands. "Sir, the unknown hostiles have destroyed 16 Star Destroyers," his tactical officer reported. "Wait, not destroyed, disabled. They're targeting engines and weapons only, Crew casualties are minimal. They're pulling their punches, Yularen realized. Against an entire fleet, they're still trying not to kill. On the bridge of the Executor, Vader's new flagship, rushed into service early. Darth Vader watched the battle unfold. His transformation to the dark side felt hollow now. Vegeta's words echoed in his mind. The bodies of the Padawans haunted him, and Palpatine's smooth assurances suddenly rang false. Had he made a terrible mistake? Lord Vader, Captain Piet ventured carefully. Should we engage the hostiles? Vader stared at the tactical display, stared at Goku flying through a squadron of TIE fighters, carefully knocking each one aside rather than destroying them. Watched Piccolo stretch his arms across kilometers to physically grab Star Destroyers and disable their weapons. Saw Vegeta moving so fast the targeting computers couldn't track him. These warriors could kill everyone in the fleet in minutes. But they weren't. They were disabling, protecting, giving mercy to an enemy that was trying to kill them. What would Padme think of what he'd become? What would she say about the path he'd chosen? Lord Vader, Piet pressed. Stand down, Vader said quietly. All Imperial forces stand down. Sir, that's an order, Captain. Disengage and withdraw. Across the Coruscant system, Imperial commanders received Vader's command and hesitated. Some obeyed immediately, pulling back their forces. Others, loyal to Palpatine above all else, continued attacking. Those ships found themselves suddenly without engines, their weapon systems fused, their crews unharmed, but completely disabled. The Z-fighters were systematically ending the battle without ending lives. In the Senate building, Sidious felt his carefully constructed plans crumbling. The fleet was withdrawing. Vader had betrayed him. And worst of all, these dimensional warriors were proving that overwhelming power could be used for mercy rather than domination. It was philosophically offensive. Very well, Sidious hissed. If the Empire cannot stop you, perhaps the Force itself can. He raised his hands and Force lightning erupted, not the measured attacks he'd used against Jedi, but everything he had. Decades of accumulated dark side power channeled into pure destructive energy, enough to incinerate a building. Goku caught it in his hands. Huh, Goku said, examining the crackling energy. This is different from Kai blasts. It's like angry electricity, but it tickles instead of hurts. He threw it back. Sidious barely managed to deflect his own attack, the lightning scorching the walls around him. He stared at Goku in genuine shock. Impossible. No one simply catches Force lightning. Dude, we've been hit by galaxy-busting attacks, Krillin called from outside. Your angry electricity is like a static shock compared to that. For the first time in decades, Darth Sidious felt something he thought he'd eliminated from his psyche. Fear. These beings weren't just powerful. They existed on a completely different scale. Fighting them wasn't warfare. It was like a human trying to fist-fight a star. This isn't over, Sidious snarled, vanishing in a surge of Force-enhanced speed. The Empire will endure. I will endure. And you, dimensional anomalies that you are, will eventually leave. When you do, I'll reclaim everything you've disrupted. He fled through secret passages, through emergency transports, ultimately escaping Coruscant entirely. The most powerful Sith Lord in a millennium, running from 7 warriors who'd arrived less than a week ago. The irony wasn't lost on him. As the sun rose over Coruscant, the battle ended. The Imperial fleet had withdrawn or been disabled. The Jedi Temple still stood, damaged but intact. And in the Senate building's ruins, Republic senators began to emerge, trying to understand what had just happened. Did we just stop a coup? Gohan asked, landing beside his father. I think so. Goku scratched his head. Politics are confusing, but the bad guy ran away, so that's good, right? Yoda approached, leaning on his cane, his ancient eyes unreadable. Saved the Jedi Order, you have. Saved the Republic, perhaps. But the future, uncertain. It remains. What happens now? Piccolo asked. Now the galaxy decides, Obi-Wan said, joining them. Palpatine's deception is exposed. The Jedi survived. The Clone Wars can truly end, but the damage he's done, the institutions he's corrupted, the trust he's destroyed, that will take years to heal. We can't stay, Vegeta stated. This isn't our galaxy. We need to find a way home. We'll help however we can, Mace Windu promised. The Jedi owe you a debt beyond measure. We don't want a debt, Goku said. We just didn't want to watch people die when we could help. That's what heroes do, right? Yoda's ears lifted in something like a smile. True heroes, perhaps. The Force is grateful for your presence, even if your methods, unconventional they are. As the Zed fighters regrouped, discussing next steps and whether Coruscant had any good restaurants that served portions suitable for scions, they didn't notice the figure watching from a distant rooftop. Anakin Skywalker, no longer Vader but not yet redeemed, observed the warriors who'd stopped his fall into complete darkness, who'd saved the Jedi he'd been moments from massacring, who'd shown him that power didn't have to mean domination. Maybe there was still hope. Maybe he could still choose a different path. But that was a decision for another day. 3 weeks later, the galaxy was still reeling. The attempted coup had been exposed. Palpatine's identity as Darth Sidious became public knowledge. The Senate, in emergency session, dissolved the emergency powers and began the long process of reforming the Republic. The Clone Wars officially ended when Count Dooku, abandoned by his master and facing a galaxy that now understood the manipulation, surrendered to the Jedi. The clones' behavioral chips were discovered, removed, and destroyed. For the first time in their lives, the soldiers of the Grand Army had true choice. And in the Jedi Temple's meditation gardens, Bulma's dimensional stabilizer, recovered from the Resolute's cargo hold where it had been stored as evidence, finally activated. "Oh, thank the Force," Krillin said. "I've been eating Coruscant food for weeks. I miss normal cuisine." "Coruscant food is fine," Goku protested. "They had that place with the 50-layer sandwich." "You ate 97 of them. They had to close for a week to restock." Vegeta stood apart from the group, looking out over the temple. This galaxy will recover. Eventually. But they'll remember. "Remember what?" Piccolo asked. "That power doesn't have to corrupt. That strength can protect rather than dominate. That even strangers from another dimension will choose to help rather than conquer." Vegeta's expression was unreadable. Maybe that's worth something. Yoda approached, his cane tapping on the stone. "Return to your dimension, you will. But remembered here, you will be. Not as weapons, not as gods, but as warriors who chose mercy when violence would have been easier." "We're not that special," Goku said honestly. "We just did what felt right." "Perhaps," Yoda replied. "But in a galaxy of trillions, how many do what feels right when what feels easy is within reach? Fewer than you think." The dimensional portal opened, purple energy, just like Vegeta remembered. Through it, they could see Earth. Home. Chi-Chi was probably furious. Bulma definitely was. But it was home. "Think they'll be okay?" Gohan asked, looking back at the Jedi Temple. "They survived a galactic war, a Sith conspiracy, and our cooking," Piccolo said. "They'll manage." One by one, the Z fighters stepped through the portal, Krillin waving goodbye to the clone troopers who'd become unexpected friends, Tien nodding respectfully to the Jedi, Gohan leaving behind notes on dimensional theory for the temple archives, Goku promising to visit if they ever figured out stable portal technology. Vegeta paused at the portal's edge, looking back at the Jedi who'd gathered to see them off. "Don't waste this," he said. "You got a second chance most people never receive. Build something worth protecting, and if another tyrant rises, stop them before they get started. Not after the body count becomes unbearable." Then he was gone, the portal closing behind him with a sound like thunder and hope. In the temple, Mace Windu turned to Yoda. "What do we do now?" "What we always have," Yoda replied. "Serve the Force, protect the innocent, and remember that power used wisely can change the galaxy." "Think we'll see them again?" Yoda's ears twitched with something like amusement. "The Force is vast and dimensions are many. If they are needed, return they may. But for now, their chapter in our story, complete it is." The Jedi dispersed, returning to their duties, their meditations, their slow rebuilding of an order that had almost ended. And in the Force itself, patterns shifted. The future, once dark and certain, now branched into infinite possibilities. The Clone Wars had ended differently. The Jedi had survived. And across the galaxy, people whispered about 7 warriors who'd appeared from nowhere, stopped an empire before it could truly begin, and vanished back into legend. Some stories claimed they were Force spirits given form. Others said they were ancient Jedi returned from beyond. A few even got close to the truth, dimensional travelers who'd stumbled into a war and chosen to end it. But regardless of the version told, every story agreed on one thing. When the galaxy had needed heroes, heroes had appeared. And when the battle was won, they'd asked for nothing in return. In the unknown regions, Darth Sidious plotted his return. But even he, master of the long game, knew that the dimensional warriors had changed something fundamental. The Jedi would be vigilant now. The Republic would reform. And most troubling of all, he'd learned that beings existed who could casually end him if they chose. That knowledge would haunt his plans for years to come. And on Earth, the Z-Fighters tumbled out of the portal into Capsule Corporation's lab, where Bulma waited with an expression that promised violence. 3 weeks, she said quietly. "You were gone for 3 weeks. Do you have any idea how worried we were?" "We saved a galaxy," Goku offered hopefully. "I don't care if you saved 10 galaxies. You pushed the button I specifically told you not to push." As Bulma's tirade continued and the others edged toward the exit, Vegeta allowed himself a small smile. Some things never changed. Dimensions could shift, galaxies could transform, empires could rise and fall. But Goku would always push the button, Bulma would always yell at them, and somewhere, some villain would always need a reminder that power came with responsibility. For the Z-Fighters, that was just another Tuesday. The galaxy far, far away would remember them as legends. But back home, they were just warriors who did what heroes do, showed up, fought the good fight, and made sure everyone lived to see another day. May the Force be with them indeed. May the Force be with you. More stories await.